Also this hour, the man charged in the murder of Kada Scott, a young woman in Philadelphia, will be in court. This is 21-year-old Keon King. He is being held without bail. He faces murder, robbery, theft, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, and obstruction of justice charges. Investigators ruling Scott's death a homicide after the 23-year-old's body was found in a shallow grave at an abandoned middle school last month. She died from a gunshot to the head. Scott was reported missing almost a month ago when she didn't come home after an overnight shift at work.
One text message, 4 words that would later become evidence in a murder investigation. Kidnap me again. Those words were sent from Kada Scott's phone on October 4th, 2025, the last day anyone would see her alive. Within hours, she would vanish. Within days, her family would be living every parent's worst nightmare. And within weeks, investigators would uncover a pattern of harassment, a shallow grave, and questions that a community is still demanding answers to. This is the story of Kada Scott, a 22-year-old woman who spent her nights caring for others at an assisted living facility in Philadelphia. A young woman described as kind, joyful, and full of light. A daughter, a friend, a beloved member of her community. But this is also a story about what happens when warning signs are ignored, when the system fails, and when someone slips through the cracks with devastating consequences. Before we dive into the investigation, it's important to understand who Kada Scott was, because she was so much more than the tragedy that ended her life. Kada was 22 years old and worked the night shift at the Terrace, an assisted living facility in Philadelphia's Chestnut Hill neighborhood. Her job was to care for elderly residents, helping them with daily tasks, providing companionship, making sure they felt safe and valued during the quiet hours of the night. Those who knew her say she brought that same care and energy to everyone in her life. Family members described her as someone who lit up a room. Friends remembered her infectious laugh and her genuine warmth. Neighbors spoke about a young woman who was always willing to help, always present, always kind. She was building a life. She had dreams. She had people who loved her and depended on her. When hundreds of people showed up to her memorial service and public funeral, they didn't just come to mourn her death, they came to celebrate her life. They shared stories about Kada's personality, her humor, the small moments that made her unforgettable to the people who knew her. Philadelphia Mayor Sherelle Parker attended the funeral and announced that the city would create an internship program in Kada's name, a way to honor her legacy and ensure that her life meant something beyond the headlines. Because that's what families of victims fight for. The recognition that their loved one was a person, not just a statistic, not just a case file, not just a story that trends for a week and then disappears. So as we go through the details of what happened, I want you to remember, this was someone's daughter, someone's friend, a real person whose life mattered. October 4th, 2025 started like any other workday for Kada Scott. She arrived at the Terrace for her overnight shift. She checked in. She began her rounds, caring for the residents who depended on her. Everything seemed normal. But at some point during or just after her shift, something changed. A co-worker would later tell investigators that she saw Kada near a parked SUV outside the facility. The co-worker said Kada appeared upset, possibly distressed. It was one of the last confirmed sightings of her alive. Shortly after that encounter, Kada's phone went dark. No social media activity, no text messages, no calls, complete silence. When family members couldn't reach her, they knew immediately that something was wrong. This wasn't like Kada. She stayed in touch. She checked in. She didn't just disappear. They reported her missing, and what began as a missing person case quickly escalated into something far more serious. Here's what made investigators especially concerned. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Kada had been receiving harassing phone calls. Family members confirmed this detail to police. The calls were persistent, troubling, and suggested that someone had been targeting her. Then there was that message from her phone sent on the day she vanished. Kidnap me again. 4 words that suggested a history, a pattern, a relationship marked by control and fear. Who was she texting? What had happened before? And what did "again" mean? Search parties fanned out across Philadelphia. K-9 units combed through wooded areas. The FBI joined the investigation. Family, friends, and community members posted flyers, shared her photo on social media, and organized candlelight vigils. The hashtags began trending. GoFundMe campaigns were launched to support the search efforts. The community rallied because Kada was one of their own, and they refused to let her disappear without a fight. Then, an anonymous tip changed everything. Someone contacted authorities with information about a specific location, a wooded area behind the abandoned Ada Lewis Middle School in Philadelphia. Search teams converged on the site. What they found confirmed the family's worst fears. In a shallow grave, investigators discovered human remains. DNA testing would later confirm what everyone already suspected. They had found Kada Scott. On October 23, 2025, the Philadelphia Medical Examiner released an official ruling. Kada Scott's cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. The manner of death, homicide. What had been a frantic search for a missing young woman was now a murder investigation. The location itself raised questions. Why there? Why behind an abandoned school? Who knew about that spot? But investigators were already building a case, and they had a suspect in mind. 21-year-old Keon King, a Delaware resident, was arrested and charged in connection with Kada's death. The charges were extensive: murder, robbery.
Go away, bitch. Don't come over here. Kara, call the cops. Call the... It's all these kids in here. Call the cops, you dumb bitch. He coming around the window.
Theft, abuse of a corpse, possession of a weapon, conspiracy, tampering with evidence, and obstruction of justice. King was denied bail and held in custody pending trial. But here's where the story takes a darker turn, one that has sparked outrage across Philadelphia and beyond. This wasn't Keon King's first encounter with the criminal justice system. Earlier in 2025, just months before Kada's death, King had been accused in another violent case involving allegations of kidnapping and strangulation. A survivor had come forward. Charges were filed. But those charges were eventually dropped when the witness didn't appear in court. Think about that for a moment. A violent allegation, a potential warning sign, a survivor too afraid or unable to follow through, and then the case disappears. Within months, Kada Scott was dead. Family members, activists, and community leaders have pointed to this as a systemic failure. They're asking, could this have been prevented? Should someone have been monitoring King more closely? Did the system fail Kada by not taking the earlier case seriously enough? Prosecutors have defended their actions, noting that criminal cases require cooperative witnesses and solid evidence. Without either, cases fall apart no matter how serious the allegations. But the questions remain, and the pain of what if haunts Kada's loved ones. So what evidence did investigators have against Keon King? First, there were the text messages. Phone records showed prior contact between Kada and someone identified as Kel, believed by investigators to be King. That "kidnap me again" message sent from Kada's phone on October 4th became a critical piece of evidence suggesting a history of harassment or coercion. Second, there was surveillance footage, and this is where things get even more disturbing. Video captured near the abandoned Ada Lewis Middle School showed two people moving what appeared to be a body from a vehicle toward the wooded area where Kada's remains were eventually found. Two people. That means King may not have acted alone. Someone else may have helped transport and bury Kada's body. Someone else may be out there, walking free, knowing what they did. Police publicly appealed for tips. They asked anyone who recognized the individuals in the surveillance footage to come forward. They made it clear, if you helped, if you knew, if you saw something, we need to hear from you. As of the latest updates, no second suspect has been publicly charged, but the investigation remains active. Third, the physical evidence tied King to the crime scene. DNA confirmed the identity of the remains. The medical examiner's findings provided a clear cause of death. Cell phone records placed King in the area. Surveillance footage showed suspicious activity. Piece by piece, investigators built a case they believed was strong enough to pursue murder charges. But building a case and securing a conviction are two different things. King is entitled to a legal defense. He's presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. His attorney will challenge the evidence, question the surveillance footage, and present alternative interpretations. That's how the system works. And that's why cases like this can take months, sometimes years, to resolve. In the wake of Kada's death, Philadelphia's response was powerful. Hundreds attended her funeral. Candlelight vigils were held. Community leaders spoke out. Activists demanded accountability. But beyond grief, there was anger. How did this happen? How did someone with a prior violent allegation end up free to allegedly commit an even more horrific crime? What needs to change to prevent this from happening again? These aren't just rhetorical questions. They're demands for systemic reform. Some are calling for better witness protection programs so survivors feel safe coming forward. Others are pushing for stricter monitoring of individuals accused of violent crimes, even if charges are dropped. Still others are demanding a re-examination of how prosecutors handle cases when witnesses fail to appear. There are no easy answers. The criminal justice system is built on principles like innocent until proven guilty and proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Those principles protect all of us from wrongful conviction. But they can also create gaps, spaces where dangerous people slip through and vulnerable people pay the price. Kada Scott paid that price, and her community is determined to make sure her death wasn't in vain. As of the latest reporting, Keon King remains in custody awaiting trial. He faces a preliminary hearing where prosecutors will present evidence to demonstrate probable cause for moving forward. The charges are serious. The evidence appears substantial. But until a jury hears the case and renders a verdict, nothing is certain. The question of the second person seen on surveillance footage remains unanswered. If another individual is identified and charged, the case could expand into conspiracy charges and raise new questions about who knew what and when. For Kada's family, the legal process is both necessary and agonizing. They want justice. They want answers. But they also know that courtrooms move slowly, and closure, if it ever truly comes, is still a long way off. The story of Kada Scott is heartbreaking on every level. It's a reminder that behind every true crime case is a real person, someone with dreams, relationships, and a future that was stolen from them. It's also a story about systemic questions we need to be asking. How do we protect survivors who come forward? How do we ensure that violent offenders don't fall through the cracks? How do we balance the rights of the accused with the safety of potential victims? These are hard conversations, but they're necessary ones. Kada's family has made it clear that they want her remembered not just for how she died, but for how she lived. They want the focus on her kindness, her warmth, her care for others. And they want justice. As this case moves through the courts, we'll continue to follow it. We'll update you on new developments, new evidence, and the eventual trial. Because Kada Scott deserves that, her family deserves that, and her community deserves answers. If this case affected you, I encourage you to leave a respectful comment below sharing your thoughts. What do you think needs to change in our justice system? How do we better protect potential victims? And if you want to stay updated on this case and others like it, make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on. We cover true crime stories with respect, depth, and a commitment to honoring the victims at the center of these tragedies. Hit that like button if you found this video informative, and share it with anyone who wants to understand what really happened to Kada Scott. Most importantly, if you or someone you know is experiencing harassment, threats, or abuse, please reach out for help. Contact local authorities, reach out to domestic violence organizations, or call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Your safety matters. Your life matters. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.